Now I think I get Okidogi in against Ursaluna. They haven't Terra'd yet, so they could Terra Ghost. I'll knock off to cover for that. Here, play Fluttermane. Okay, I get the knockoff into Lunala. That's good. That does a lot through Shadow Shield. Welcome back to VGC Legends. It's the series where I spin a wheel, I get a random legendary Pokemon, I build a team quickly around that legendary Pokemon, and I give it a try on the Regulation I ladder. As always, the two reasons for which I do this are just that I like legendary Pokemon for one, and for the other, that speed building a bunch of teams is a fun little adventure that maybe teaches me some things along the way. This is part 40 of this series, which feels nuts to say out loud. You probably know the drill by now. Let's just spin the wheel. Let's see what we get. Sure did get a strong legendary last time. Let's see if that holds up. We are going into Gen 9. Continuing to run through the last two generations there. And we get the second member of the Loyal 3. Okidogi. Not one I've been especially looking forward to, but let's see what we can do. Okay, like I said, haven't really been looking forward to Okidogi, but it's on the list, and there are definitely some things that can be done with it. One thing that is kind of nice, out of all the Loyal 3, we don't have to mess around with Toxic Chain never activating. 30%. I don't think so, in my experience. Doesn't matter, we get Guard Dog. Get an attack boost instead of an attack drop from Intimidate. For Okidogi, we had some physical tanky stats. I think probably an Assault Vest set or a Bulk Up set. Obviously we will not be keeping both of these, but I think probably one of them is a good way to go here. I could see Okidogi complementing Shadow Rider Calyrex because it has that fighting typing that complements Calyrex so well, and also makes it harder for opponents to just throw Incineroar at you. And then I suppose that frees the other restricted slot for something other than Zamazenta or Koraidon, at least on paper, although is there something else that I would rather be using than Zamazenta or Koraidon? Maybe Miraidon. Double down on powerful special attacking restricteds. It's a thought. Here's Top Cut Explorer. Go to Bologna, as usual. Let's see if Okidogi shows up in the top 256. If it does, I think it will be fairly far down. Not at one use, not at two uses. I'll scroll higher, just to be sure, but no, there's no Okidogi here. Alright, let's check the other events. Santiago. One Okidogi. Assault Vest. Terra Water. Brick Break, Close Combat, Crunch, Gunk Shot. I guess Brick Break, because you can only really run attacks with the Assault Vest anyway, and it helps to clear screens. It's opposing Grimmsnarl. We can see it was running with a Grimmsnarl on a Lunala Miraidon team. Take a look at that paste. What about Utrecht? One Okidogi. Also Assault Vest. This one is Snarl, Terra Dark, Ho-Oh Miraidon team. Not sure I know what to do with that, but we'll take a look. And in Melbourne, I don't think there's any Okidogi. Alright, so the only two pastes I have are this one and this one. I don't want to use Ho-Oh in this video. I'm uncomfy enough with Okidogi. I don't think I'm going to be any comfier with Ho-Oh. This one could work. Something like it. Okidogi can complement Lunala in the same kind of way that it complements Miraidon. With Electric Seed Lunala, that could be fun. And then what, you run Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna. I've never looked super closely at, wrong one. I've never looked super closely at these teams. Let's take a look at bunch stats. Okidogi will not be number 2 in usage, but it does show up. Very overwhelmingly, most commonly with an Assault Vest. I guess Bulk Up is just too slow in this format when everything hits so hard so quickly. Not slow as in the speed stat, slow as in slow to get going. Knock off, gunk shot, drain punch, close combat, poison jab, upper hand, interesting, snarl. Most common partner is Lunala. Shadow Rider Calyrex does show up, but it's a ways further down. Most common partner is Lunala. Dark is the most common Terra type. I think I like water. In theory. It's looking like a Miraidon Lunala team. I don't know that well how to build those though. They always run Ursaluna. I know that. I think they like to have Tailwind somewhere as well. Not this one, though. Alright, let's back up a little bit. Back to Bologna. Miraidon. Lunala. Let's just see what these teams look like. Not that decent number of them are running Tailwind. Some Whimsicott. I'd bet some of these Volcarona have Tailwind as well. Not that many Ursaluna actually. Well, they start to show up a little ways down. Not that many near the top actually. Rillaboom I sort of get. It's helpful into opposing Miraidon, but at the same time, dual terrain seems pretty uncomfy. Whimsicott, Urshifu, Incineroar is a pretty typical way to build them out. I guess if I'm swapping Okidogi in, it would be over Urshifu. Don't love a straight swap. I don't. Not usually a very sound way to team build. But yeah, Okidogi being able to take advantage of Incineroar being helpful to Lunala, and to an extent Ursaluna. You might want to intimidate that. That's another thing I can think about, how to bait in Incineroar, right? But I feel like a lot of teams need their Incineroar to help deal with Lunala, so Okidogi being a common partner to Lunala makes a lot of sense to me. I also might not need an Incineroar on this team if I do, like, well, close combat? I guess so. Do I really want Gunk Shot? I'm going to be missing a lot of those, aren't I? Oh well, if I do something like this... They're dark after all. Do I really need Incineroar then? Is there some other cool thing? If I condense Fighting type and Dark type into this? Is there some other cool thing that I can run here? That free me up to run like an Ogerpon or something? Okidogi and Ogerpon on the same team? That's nuts. Miraidon, Lunala as the restricted duo. Miraidon has trouble with... well, Miraidon has... A lot of Miraidon's answers are grass types, so Okidogi already is helpful into that. Ground types as well. I could run Rapid Striker Shifu. I could run an Ogerpon. Lunala, apart from Incineroar... Shadow Rider Calyrex is an issue, but Terra Dark Okidogi is at least helpful into that. I think Rapid Striker Shifu would not be bad on this team. I'd really be counting on Okidogi to deal with grass types though, other than Amoonguss. What else is a relevant grass type? Rillaboom, Ogerpon... Not that much, is there? Whimsicott, but... Whimsicott's not too bothered about what type it is. Wolfglick would say it's more of a fairy type, I think, but... The point is, it being a grass type is not that important. Could I beat Koraidon? With Lunala? Probably. How do I beat... Zamazenta? Lunala's good into that. Does Miraidon with if the positioning is right. How do I beat Terrapagos? I have Okidogi. I don't think another fighting type hurts. I think everything I do here I think is coming back to Rapid Striker Shifu. We'll give it a go. Alright, Assault Vest Okidogi looks something like that. Choice Specs Miraidon probably. As usual. You know, the likely 4 moves unless I change my mind about something. Electric Seed. Oh, wait. Electric Seed, Terra Fairy, Lunala, Moongeist Beam, Moonblast, Trick Room, Protect, Ursaluna. And you know what Ursaluna does, right? The reason I said, oh wait, is doesn't Lunala want to be in screens? Doesn't Okidogi want to be behind screens too, actually? Do I just have room for a Grimmsnarl on this team? Probably if I think Tailwind. I think I could consider dropping Tailwind. I think I could do Grimmsnarl instead of Whimsicott. I could also run Thunderwave on it. Something like Reflect, Light Screen, Thunderwave, Spirit Break. Give screens to Okidogi. I don't want to think about Drain Punch then. Give screens to Lunala. Do I even need Snarl? Can I do Close Combat? Drain Punch? What is Snarl for? Shadow Rider? I knock that off. The rest of the team hits very hard. I don't think Snarl really fits. But with Grimmsnarl, I get the option of, yeah, Okidogi just sitting on the field for a long time. Potentially. In that case, I might want a way to heal it. I mean, I do have... sometimes I just autofill Protect into every Pokemon's last slot, even when it's not what I want. There we go. I do have Drain Punch. I'm powered up by opposing Incineroar. Pivoting around positioning with Incineroar makes Okidogi stronger. Miraidon, Lunala, powerhouses. Have the offense in Trick Room and Ursaluna. I could do like a Choice Scarf. Rapid Striker Shifu. Maybe something like Mystic Water or even Choice Band would be better here. Just for that bit more flexibility in Trick Room. But I don't have a lot of speed control the other way. I mean, Thunderwave Grimmsnarl helps. Thunderwave Grimmsnarl does help. That is true. Scarf for Shifu is just very awkwardly positioned in Trick Room if I set that up. But I'm probably not spamming Trick Room with this team, right? I'm probably using it more selectively. And Choice Scarf for Shifu is what I'm most used to. It's what I tend to think of as the best set, personally. But, of course, it is a Pokemon that can be used in different ways that might suit different teams. Sometimes, some ways better than others. Not really one size fitting all there. Also, the speed is, I think, less important behind screens, so I'm going to go Mystic Water. And that means I have room for Detect. I'll fill out the rest, and we'll see how this does on the ladder. Definitely a style of team that I'm not the most experienced with, but should be fun to try it out. Actually, what about Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon? It gives me that coverage into ground types that I want. And it has Sturdy, so it can take a hit. A little bit more survivability. And with Follow Me, it gives me cover to set Trick Room. I don't know. Urshifu is a very good Pokemon. Hard to say no to using it, but Ogerpon also always has the issue of, do I run Wood Hammer and give up my own Sturdy, or do I run Power Whip and miss? Power Whip and miss, I think, is the pick here. Let's do this instead of Urshifu. Is it better? I don't know. We'll see how it does. Here's the team. Something that I think is a recurring issue for me with Miraidon teams is that I know that Miraudon wants to click Volt Switch, but I don't really give thought in the builder to what I'm Volt Switching out to. That is something that I would want to take into account if I were building a Miraudon team for a tournament now. But make no mistake, I have not learned my lesson in this video. I built this team without really properly considering that. That said, Okidogi, matching up well into grass and fairy types, is not necessarily a bad Volt Switch recipient. This might kind of accidentally work out for me, although, well, let's just say it is very much in the spirit of this series and its origins back in Gen 7 Ubers that I don't have a ground resist on this team. Might have wanted to have one, but we don't look back right now, we look forward. Also, look up Shiny Okidogi if you want. It is definitely scarier than the regular coloring, I'll give it that. Anyway. I think should be Okidogi here. First opponent has a ground type. I was gonna say, see, they don't have a ground type, but then I noticed they actually do. I don't know why they're running Great Tusk, especially on what looks like a very Trick Roomy team. When Ursaluna is right there, but yeah, this looks like hard Trick Room except Miraudon. And then they can bring in Vikavolt and Great Tusk, and they can Disquake, discharge Vikavolt, Earthquake, Great Tusk. Partner's immune to both those moves. That's pretty hard to deal with. Also, I'm definitely supposed to have Wide Guard on Lunala, not Protect, right? I don't know why I just blanked on that, but might have been yelling at me for a couple of reasons during the team builder section of this. Anyway, I'd like screens, I think. I don't feel that good about leading Miraudon into this. They have terrain control, they have a bunch of threats to Miraudon. I think I feel better about something like Grimmsnarl or Ursaluna. I definitely like Ursaluna this game. Maybe Grimmsnarl Ogerpon, I can just Ivy Cudgel stuff, except Great Tusk. And I bring Ursaluna and I bring Lunala, that means I leave Okidogi behind. I think I'm okay with that here. Lily, Great Tusk, and Indeedee. Just reflect. Might as well get some damage on Indeedee. Almost making a lot of noise outside my apartment. I don't think you can hear that, but I have no idea what they're talking about. Got my headphones on, but very animated about something. The Great Tusk is faster than my Ogerpon. I am running a way slower Ogerpon than usual for me. So I might even be able to Spirit Break Indeedee to cover a Follow Me and Power Whip Great Tusk. Yeah, they said Trick Room, but my Pokemon are slower. Gotta be careful with that when you're running Trick Room on ladder. We land our first Power Whip of the video, also. Here are Calyrex and Vikavolt. I might as well light screen. Might as well try to Ivy Cudgel Vikavolt. I think they'll knock out Ogerpon before I get to do that. But they Bug Buzz into Grimmsnarl. Okay, I've actually just gifted a Grimnay boost to their Calyrex, so that's how I lose this, I think. Well, let's see. Terra. So I'm not weak to the Glacial Lance. This is not min speed Ursaluna, though very likely not a speed tie. I did think about protecting to get my Guts active first, and I didn't do that. But there's only one turn left of Trick Room, so I can protect now. It's actually convenient for me that I messed up and put Protect on Lunala, which I will fix for next game. But it actually pays off here. Although, even then, what else do they have on the Calyrex? Yeah, okay, they were going to High Horsepower Ursaluna. That's fine, I protect there. Now, Facade, or Facade into Vikavolt is pretty free. Let's Moongeist Beam Calyrex, that'll definitely KO. It's at 8%. And then I get my strongest attack on the board, Facade into Vikavolt. They just run out of Trick Room too quickly. A little bit messy, but it works out. They protect Calyrex there. But yeah, Vikavolt just drops. There goes to Ursaluna behind Reflect. A little bit too hard for this opponent to deal with. We definitely take those. I'm going to make a quick cut here and fix Lunala's set. There we go. Now I have Wide Guard. Can't believe I just blanked on that. But if you've been watching all 40 parts of this, you probably can believe it. Koraidon, Shadow Rider, Incineroar, Indeedee, Sableye, and Brute Bonnet. Sorry, I was trying to eavesdrop on the people chatting outside my apartment, but I still can't make out anything intelligible. No Weezing on this team. I think I said that already. If not, I meant to. Teradark Okidogi could be very strong here. If the Koraidon is out of the way. I kind of want to just throw my restrictions at this. Maybe I'm better off setting screens, though. I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's coherent, but we'll see what happens. They lead Calyrex and Brute Bonnet. I could Thunderwave Calyrex, but they could Rage Powder redirect it. I think it's better to just set Light Screen. And honestly, I'm down to just do this. Am I? It's not a great use of my Terra. I might want the Terra for Okidogi later. Alright, we'll do it without Terra. You just switch out to Indeedee. I guess I should have seen that coming. That changes the terrain, of course. And it means they can Spore my Pokemon now. Eject button Indeedee. Yeah, free Spore for them into probably Miraidon. Not great for me. I'll just burn a turn of sleep and set Reflect. Preserving Miraidon doesn't really matter if it never wakes up. So let's at least give it a chance. They Terra Fire their Koraidon. Close Combat Grimmsnarl. Okay. I also can't Thunderwave anything now that Psychic Terrain is up. Synthesis on the Brute Bonnet. Don't especially want to switch anybody in on this. Guess I can just try to get damage on Brute Bonnet while I have the chance. The Koraidon is lowering its defenses, so if I wake up here, that Dazzling Gleam's gonna hurt. Yeah, it does some damage. They Spore Grimmsnarl. Koraidon is faster than Miraidon, and so able to just KO it now. They also can switch to fire attacks safely. I guess I just let Miraidon go down here. Instead of bringing Lunala in on that and potentially a Spore. Pollen Puff into Koraidon. Annoying team. But fair play to them, of course. Alright, I'll go Lunala. Try to get rid of this Bonnet. The U-turn with Koraidon. Who's coming in? Calyrex? That breaks my Shadow Shield. I also never activated the Electric Seed this game. Because I just, after Miraidon got spored, I ended up just letting it go down. But I do get a Spirit Break into Calyrex here. So that breaks possible Focus Sash and lowers its special attack. I am under more and more pressure to Terrasilize Lunala, though. Also, the more this plays out, the more Okidogi feels out of position in the end game. I'm not sure that Pokemon is going to be useful. I was going to say I'm not sure it's going to be useless, but that's the opposite of what I mean. I think I have to Terra here, and I think I have to Trick Room. Indeedee can redirect anything I try to throw at Calyrex. I need to get rid of Indeedee. Trick Room gives cover for Okidogi to put in work once a teammate has gone down. Okay, another Spirit Break KOs Indeedee. That's good to know. Wide Guard here and Spirit Break. Show that I have wide guard, maybe get it in their head. Also, maybe just stop an Astral Barrage this turn. They forfeited. Alright, I mean, it looked pretty rough for them once the Trick Room went up. Especially knowing that Indeedee is in range of Spirit Break. I can understand them not want to play this out. What's next? Rhydon. Okay. Umbreon. Okay. Ice Rider, Calyrex, Kyogre, Urshifu, Murkrow. Okay. Interesting team. All these Pokemon make sense in this format, at least individually. As a team, they look a little bit odd. But okay, Rhydon is your Miraidon answer. Umbreon is good into horses. Lunala. Murkrow, Prankster, Tailwind. Immune to Taunt. I'm sure there's something coherent here. It's an unusual looking team, but I don't think that means it's bad, necessarily. I want my screens, I think. I do kind of want... I do think I want Miraidon, even though they have a Rhydon. I can Draco Meteor or Dazzling Gleam it. And Miraidon is very threatening into the rest of the team. That's why they have gone with such a hardcore, hyper-specialized check to it. Okidogi ought to be helpful into Umbreon. I don't love Ursaluna here. Especially because if I bring Ursaluna at this point, I'm not bringing Lunala. I'm going to bring Lunala. They have a lot of Pokemon that are good into a lot of my Pokemon, but yeah, it's just a matter, I think, of positioning it right. I don't think I can just start clicking Volt Switch and Electro Drift right off the bat here. It'd be interesting if this were a Discharge Miraidon, but it's not. As much as I want to Electro Drift something, I think Dazzling Gleam is the way to go. It's still very threatening into Urshifu, at least. The U-turn, that's probably Rhydon coming in. Yeah. Takes some good damage, though. I also can't Thunder Wave with Rhydon on the field. But I guess I'll just Dazzling Gleam and Reflect. Ooh, Helping Hand Rhydon. But if they're Choice Locked into Water Spout, they're not. Okay. The Origin Pulse missed Miraidon. So that's very good for me. I guess I'll just go Lunala here. I get my Electric Seed. I get all the offensive pressure that comes with having both my restricted Pokemon on the board. Dazzling Gleam, and I don't yet know whether I'm going to want Trick Room, so I guess I'll just Moongeist Beam something. I guess I could Moon Blast something. That's mostly better into their team, with the exception of actually the single most likely Pokemon for them to have. But yeah, if they bring in either Dark-type or Urshifu, Moon Blast hits it harder. Although Dazzling Gleam hits it plenty hard already. Dazzling Gleam just takes both KOs. They have Ice Rider, they have Urshifu, okay. In that case, I don't think I'm ever going to want to... Excuse me, I don't think I'm ever going to want to Terrasilize Okidogi. I don't think I ever need to Terrasilize Lunala, so I think I can just do this. And this. Guess Rhydon would have gone down a little more quickly if I'd Terrasalized Miraidon to begin with, but... Oh, it's Scarf Urshifu. Okay. The Terrasalizing there was actually kind of a throw. Whoops. Lance breaks Shadow Shield. Now, Surging Strikes is very, very scary. Well, let's just see if this works out. Surging Strike Okidogi, it doesn't KO. Knockout Urshifu. Land the Gunk Shot, knockout Calyrex. Perfect. A little bit scary at the end there, but it worked out fine. And Okidogi getting the final KO. You love to see it. Paradon, Lunala, Raging Bolt, Lettermane, Ursaluna, Brute, Bonnet. I'm interested in setting up my screens. I'm interested in setting up my Electric Terrain. I can do both of those right off the bat, I think. Water main is a little bit scary then, but I think it's doable. I think I can bring this. Maybe Ursaluna. I don't know. I don't love Ursaluna against their own Lunala Ursaluna stuff. To be honest. Okidogi is good into their Lunala. I'll bring Okidogi. Really Koraidon Flutter Mane. Very scary. Lots of pressure immediately. I'm gonna go for a Thunder Wave in a Flutter Mane. Why not? Unfortunately, I Volt Switched the wrong slot. I can Reflect. Volt Switch. Flutter Mane is, or should be, pretty seriously nerfed by that para. They don't want to get Koraidon paralyzed, I guess, if they get out of there. Makes the Reflect not useful this turn, but it will still be useful going forward. Now, I think I get Okidogi in against Ursaluna. They haven't Terra'd yet, so they could Terra Ghost. I'll knock off to cover for that. Spirit Flake Flutter Mane. Okay, I get the knockoff into Lunala. That's good. That does a lot through Shadow Shield. This item is Mental Herb. I don't have Taunt on my team anyway, but good damage. Koraidon I can threaten with Thunder Wave, right? I might protect it here, but Lunala then is in danger. Or water. Okay. Well, at least I finally made something Terra on their side. They burn Okidogi. That's unfortunate for me. It's a Trick Room. Better late than never on the light screen, I guess. And Okidogi can just go down swinging at this point. Okay. I clicked the wrong screen. Whoops. Alright, it's burned, but I'll take that damage. I might still lose to the Ursaluna, though. Good chance I do. Well, I can't Terrasilize Koraidon anymore. Knock out Okidogi. I made Koraidon slower than Lunala, but oh, I was gonna say it doesn't do much damage. That actually is significant, though. It breaks my Shadow Shield. I probably just lose to Ursaluna now, you know. Yeah, they had a scary team. Yeah, I do get my... I do get this thing finally. And I still have my Terra. Dazzling Gleam, they could Wide Guard, but if they do that, they're not attacking with Lunala. Terra Fairy to stand a chance against their Lunala. What do I attack here? It has to be Ursaluna, right? If Facade, knock out Miraidon, nothing I could do about that. My Lunala is slower. Or it's a speed tie. I think that's more likely. I never did set up light screen because I misclicked my screen. I moved first twice in a row. Mine might be slower. But it works out. Would have been safer if I'd ever set light screen, but I said I would do that and then I clicked on Reflect. Nice game though. Enjoyed that one for sure. I was gonna say this is Origin Giratina physical spam. I don't know if you can even. It's not loading very well. I can only see half of their models. There we go. Now that everybody's here. I was gonna say it's Origin Giratina physical spam when I could see that and Champao, but it's not that. It's not as physical spammy as some of these teams. But hey, I haven't seen one of these in a little bit. I like Trick Room here. Amoonguss is a bit of a threat, obviously, as an anti-Trick Room piece, but I have Electric Terrain. I could do I could just lead Miraidon and Lunala. They do have ways to threaten that. Maybe Miraidon Grimmsnarl is better. Be patient, trying to set the Trick Room with Lunala in the back. Or I could do Grimmsnarl, Lunala. Be willing to terastallize the Lunala early, set Trick Room. But I want Electric Terrain to deal with the Amoonguss. Then what? Do I bring Ursaluna? It's kind of hard countered by Giratina, so I don't actually think I can. I think I bring Okidogi. This is a pretty awkward mode, but we'll see how it turns out. Ayleid freezes world cutely and unpronounceable name. Unpronounceable name looks pretty threatening. Actually, both these look very threatening into my Miraidon right now, don't they? Can I just switch out? To what? I could Volt Switch Champao, but obviously that opens up Protect stuff, or just Champao being faster, or Speed Tie. And then Landorus wrecking me. I don't like that. Maybe leading Miraidon into this wasn't the play, but I really was kind of focused in on that Amoonguss. I'm going to do something perhaps a little risky here. But if Champao were going for a Dark type attack, I figured it would be Sucker Punch. So I thought Lunala could switch in there reasonably well. Don't love that Grimmsnarl got wiped out by that Sludge Bomb. All that, I thought they were going to attack Miraidon. Maybe they didn't because I took so long. And they knew I was contemplating a switch. If it's Taunt Qianpao, I can probably just forfeit here. Well, let's hope it isn't. Also can only terastallize one of these. I think it does have to be Lunala. This is where the team could use a ground resist, huh? When we ran into a strong ground type. The Sludge Bomb Lunala, that's a good call by them. They got me good with that. Well, lock in a Dazzling Gleam. And hope I don't see Zamazenta. Though I surely will. There goes my Hadron Engine immediately. But we will at least get a couple of KOs here. It's not a 4-0. It's now a 2-0 at worst. There's Zamazenta, and there's Giratina. Origin Giratina is so interesting in this matchup. It hard counters Ursaluna. Pretty good into Miraidon. I can't even knock off its item. Because it's a form-changing item that can't be knocked off. There's the Wide Guard, but Miraidon can't do anything else. It's choice locked into Dazzling Gleam. So they can safely target Okidogi. That actually didn't do too much damage. Okidogi nice and tanky, get some decent recovery. Okay, Okidogi's actually making this a little interesting. Never mind. They had that all along. I also can't knock off its item, of course. And yeah, I can't Drain Punch anything anymore except my own Miraidon, which is not useful anyway. There may be some position in some game where you Drain Punching your own Pokemon to get recovery. It makes sense. It's the kind of thing that like a Wolf Glick type would make a video about. They're looking for the KO on Miraidon there. They get it. Knock off just not doing enough back. It's not even removing an item. Okidogi made this a little bit interesting. Reflect helped too, but the Terra Ghost Zamazenta, at that point it was just GG. Good job to that opponent. They have a scary team. And yeah, Origin Giratina is super interesting with that Ghost Dragon typing and Levitate. It's not one of the strongest restricteds, but it is really hard for some kinds of teams to deal with. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's... And there's not much life left in Regai anyway, but... Well, at least until the announced end date. I wouldn't expect Giratina to go around winning major tournaments if there were any to win, but... I wouldn't be surprised to see it show up fairly high in some standings. That's all hypothetical, though, unless Regai continues beyond its current announced end date. This opponent certainly doesn't have a ground resist either. But they do have a ground type that's very scary. My team. I think I want to set Trick Room on this, especially with their Whimsicott being here. Although Groudon is actually pretty hard to deal with. But I could do Lunala Ogerpon maybe. Get my Trick Room with that. I definitely want Ursaluna in this one. I'm not sure at all that I want Miraidon. They have a lot of good Miraidon answers. I could alternatively do... I think I might need Ogerpon to deal with the Whimsicott. It would be nice to have screens here, but I think that's what's gonna think that's what I'm going to leave behind. Get Okidogi and Ursaluna. Yeah, Reflect could be useful here. Also, they have a way to shut down my Trick Room. It's pretty annoying. I think that's what they're going for. I think that's why they lead Farigiraf here, so I'm just going to attack it. They tear a Fire Groudon immediately, but I targeted Farigiraf. They might set Trick Room for me, expecting it to be reversing my Trick Room. No. But I think I can Trick Room here. Keep the Farigiraf honest with the threat of another Ivy Cudgel. I thought I'd be clicking Follow Me with Ogerpon, but this works too. Okay, they protect Groudon. Their Groudon might be faster, or slower. No, their Groudon is faster than Lunala. We saw that already. Okay, that's good. Raging Bolt is scary. But I can Move Blast it. Just follow me here. Probably best that I let Ogerpon go down so I can get Ursaluna on the field. Rising Voltage. Should have known when they have Raging Bolt and Miraidon on the same team. That is very scary. Rising Voltage, of course, electric type attack. Oh, you know what I can do here? Do that. Rising Voltage, electric type attack, gets an additional power-up from electric terrain beyond the standard power-up for electric type attacks. Kind of like how Expanding Force is powered up by Psychic Terrain, except Rising Voltage doesn't turn it into a spread move, it just gets the extra power-up. Used to be able to run it on a bunch of interesting Pokemon in Sword and Shield. In fact, Pincurchin got it in Sword and Shield and could set the terrain up itself and do actual, not terrible damage with Rising Voltage. But now, for some reason, only Raging Bolt gets it. What's their last Pokemon? Miraidon? Yeah, this person needed a Ground Resist even more than I do. Wide Guard, Earthquake. And I have Guts active now. Good thing I put Wide Guard on this Lunala. Good thing I remembered to do that eventually. Because now Ursaluna can spam Earthquake next to it in a position like this. Crit the Groudon. Might have mattered, but I don't think Groudon was pulling this whole game back anyway. Especially since it could only take one KO there because Wide Guard would stop Precipice Blades if they went for that. Then I had Okidogi in the back. Oh dear. This is a team. Well. Yes. So, how about that team there? How do I beat this? Honestly, probably by overwhelming things with Ursaluna. Let's do... these three. Let's do Miraidon for electric terrain to shut down Spore Smeargle. Trick Room stuff in the back. Ideally, I get Ursaluna set up and just power through things, critting if need be. Grimmsnarl is not going to have Prankster active right now because of the neutralizing gas. You can see I also don't have my Hadron engine, so whether I click Light Screen or I click Thunder Wave into Calyrex, I think it's going to be Light Screen here. They get to go first. Bat. Get one round of full damage. It's Life Orb Calyrex. Okay. Might be more manageable than some options on this team. I'm going to go straight to Ursaluna because that's strong into Calyrex. But I'm already kind of out of position, not having Trick Room up yet. I do at least get my... I don't get my Guts. Guts is stopped by neutralizing gas. I'm just disadvantaged by being burned. Oh, I messed up. Facade is still boosted, though. Because it's a property of the move. On top of it being a property of Guts. Yeah, I did a foolish thing here. It's Leech Seed Shadow Rider? That's a new one to me. Oh, I just missed the KO, too. I did a foolish thing here, bringing Ursaluna in with Weezing still on the field. They can just protect. In that case, let's take the chance to get Lunala in and go for Reflect. Lunala's going to be poisoned. I don't get to take advantage of Shadow Shield. I guess I'd better Terra Fairy. This is Galarian Weezing, so it might not be running a poison attack. I'd say Galarian Weezing is more likely running a Fairy attack. Here's the Leech Seed again. Weezing's finally gone. So is Calyrex. They let me knock that out. And here's what they were setting all that up for. My whole team effectively is poisoned except Grimmsnarl. As soon as I switch Miraidon in, it gets poisoned too. I go for Trick Room. No, I'm not. I'm actually gonna... Thunder Wave Dondozo. I might need to cheese it with some full paras. So this gives me the chance to do that. There's one. I need to get Lunala off the field, though. But I don't want to go to Miraidon, because I might need that to beat Tatsugiri if I'm not setting Trick Room. So I'll go Ursaluna. And I just click Spirit Break, I guess. Body Press Grimmsnarl. It doesn't KO. That's good. Now we just Facade and Spirit Break, hope for crits, hope for full paras, you know, whatever works. Play to our outs. That Facade actually still does a lot. Body Press back doesn't KO through the Reflect, but the next one will. Crit, full para, whatever we can get. It's protecting to get a bit of recovery and stall a turn. They'll probably correctly time the KO on Grimmsnarl as well so that I don't get a second Reflect this game, but there's nothing that I can and am willing to do about that in this position. Ursaluna's last chance to attack. It always could be a crit. The game's not over. That gets kind of close to KOing without a crit. It's fully paralyzed. Of course, Ursaluna will be knocked out here. Okay. 40% down to 32, down to 24. I think I can just win with Miraidon now, actually. They'll protect this turn. Get some poison damage on me. But yeah, just lock into Electro Drift. Full para. I think I win this anyway, but even better. And I get the Spirit Break into Tatsugiri. And a Roselli Berry. I guess that's the Fairy Resist Berry. So now I know it doesn't have a Choice Scarf. I'll Thunder Wave anyway, because why not? But that was the other thing in the back of my mind, that it could be Scarf Tatsugiri, in which case I would want to Thunder Wave it before attacking with Miraidon. Yeah, I think... unless it was Scarf Tatsugiri and I missed the Thunder Wave, I think Miraidon was always winning this end game. And in the end, it looked a little scary at times, but the basic game plan that I came up with worked out. Ursaluna just did so much damage that it was able to wear down the Dondozo enough that Miraidon could close it out. There were ways that could go wrong for sure, but worked out nicely this time. Huh. Shadow Rider, Miraidon, Mousehold, Sableye, Chi-Yu, Raging Bolt. There are a lot of people not running ground resist in this format, huh? No wonder Landorus is so good. And Ursaluna. Ursaluna goes crazy in Trick Room in this game, if I get the chance. They have Shadow Rider and Chi-Yu, so they're not going to make it easy for me to get that chance, but I might be down to lead Lunala Ogerpon here. Or I could just do Grimmsnarl Miraidon. This feels a little bit more sound. And then Lunala, Ursaluna in the back. Sorry, Okidogi. Not Grimmsnarl. I have Grimmsnarl. They have Sableye and Chi-Yu. Could be Screen Sableye. Take out. Okay. What does Chi-Yu go for? Heat Wave. Not doing too much to me right on. Burns Grimmsnarl, not the end of the world. Grimmsnarl doing damage with Spirit Break has actually been pretty valuable this video, so I don't love that it got burned here, but it's not the most important thing, right? It's better than Okidogi or Ogerpon getting burned. Maybe even Lunala just because of Shadow Shield. The burn damage would be annoying at least that one time. There's the Calyrex. Imagine if I Volt Switched that slot. But I didn't. I Volt Switched the Chi-Yu slot again. Knocking out Chi-Yu here is big. I'll go Ursaluna. It's a little bit dicey because I don't have Trick Room up. It puts pressure on the Shadow Rider immediately. They go back to Sableye, kind of figured. I'm going to Protect. I'm going to Spirit Break Shadow Rider. If they don't fake out Grimmsnarl. Oh, they Psychic Ursaluna. Okay, Grimmsnarl actually gets a chance to attack here. And break a potential Focus Sash. And honestly, I might as well Thunder Wave, Calyrex, and Earthquake here. It's definitely a departure from the Trick Room idea, but you know, I want to take advantage of having Ursaluna in this position. They use Feint. I was not going for double protect there. I was going for... Okay, Psychic doesn't do too much through the light screen. I knock out my own Grimmsnarl, but look at how low these Pokemon are. Now I get Miraidon back. This is a pretty free Dazzling Gleam. I guess I'll just Facade this slot. Oh, they have Quash. It's not a free Dazzling Gleam. And I shouldn't have Facaded. But thanks to the light screen, Miraidon takes that very nicely anyway. So it's not a free Dazzling Gleam, but we just took a little bit of damage back for it. But I guess it would have been... I should have clicked Headlong Rush to cover for that. Honestly, I haven't seen a Sableye actually run Quash in a while. Even though it's kind of what that Pokemon is known for. That's my bad there. Terra Fairy. Mine goes first. Does half with Dazzling Gleam. That doesn't KO Ursaluna. I had Lunala in the back anyway, so I wasn't worried. Headlong Rush closes it out. Well, we're starting to see, I think, why Miraidon Lunala teams are so good. I wasn't feeling very confident with one, but it sure does win a lot of games. Powerful duo. Sometimes good Pokemon are just good Pokemon, huh? I definitely feel good about the Grimmsnarl. That wasn't originally what I was thinking for that slot. It's put in a lot of work in this video. The Ogerpon hasn't put in a ton of work, but it's been alright too. Zacian, Kyogre, Rillaboom, Earthflame Mask Ogerpon, Chanpao, and I was about to say Mega Salamence. It looks like Mega Salamence. That's kind of its thing. But of course, that's Roaring Moon. This looks like a scary matchup. For sure, this is a scary matchup. I'm going to try these three. I could try Ursaluna. Ursaluna's a little bit afraid of Rillaboom, but otherwise it's very strong into their team if I get Trick Room up, so I'll do that. I think at the end of the video I'm just going to have to do the thing where I declare up front that I'm taking Okidogi to the game no matter what, because the one unfortunate thing here is Okidogi getting overshadowed a bit in the Okidogi video. But these things happen. This is a really scary matchup. I'm switching Lunala in. I'm probably throwing away the Shadow Shield for not much gain. Miraidon is just under so much pressure here. This could easily break the winning streak. We'll see. I guess this is where Incineroar is valuable to these teams, and Incineroar would be great to have right now into these two threats. But I had to fit Okidogi somewhere. Okay, they faked out that slot. That's good. I got my Reflect. They actually don't damage Lunala. They do knock out Grimmsnarl immediately, but Can I just... Pretty risky, huh? Let's go for Trick Room. Protect, get the Flame Orb. This is an opponent who will take a while, I guess. Which they have every right to do. That's everybody's day being. Swords. Mine was better before I saw that Swords Dance Zacian. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. How? Alright, now I'm under a lot of pressure to terrestrialize both of my Pokemon. Actually, Rillaboom being off the field means I'm not really under pressure to terrestrialize Ursaluna. Thing is, they can Sucker Punch Lunala, and then they can Behemoth Blade Lunala, and that really messes me up through Terra. But the other thing is, I can Headlong Rush the Zacian. So actually, the position is better than it looked to me at first glance. Protect. It's probably Sash Pow, right? Maybe they just take a KO on Ursaluna here. That would be hard for me to deal with. Yeah. Okay, well it doesn't KO, but they can Sucker Punch it now. That was a smart play by them. I think I just need them to not Sucker Punch Ursaluna, to be honest. It's really hard for me to deal with. I'll protect. I'm scared. Yeah, they went for the Sucker Punch. Get rid of the POW here, but they still have Rillaboom in the back, so they still have turbo dangerous physical priority. They also can Fake Out. Do I switch to Miraidon here so that they don't have priority Grassy Glide? I think that's my out. There's no shortage of ways this can go wrong, but I think that's my out here. I think I need this Headlong Rush into Zacian. They could just Fake Out Ursaluna as well. But I don't even... What can I even do about that at this point? It might be more optimal here to go for the double protect. I'm not sure, but I say they just Grassy Glide. It's Woodhammer, isn't it? I guess it was more optimal to go for the double protect there. But you know, that's just a cold, unfeeling 1 in 3 chance to work, or else you're cooked. It's a scary thing to go for sometimes. I'm locking into Electro Drift because I need to just knock out this Zacian to have any chance, but that of course weakens Miraidon into Rillaboom for the entire rest of the game. But I don't think I win this one, but you know, I'll play to my outs. I guess the cold, unfeeling 1 in 3 chance might have paid off. Well, certainly had a better shot at paying off than what happened. Alright, they're giving me the Electro Drift into Kyogre. I'll take it. They also got rid of the boost on Zacian. Perhaps I should have Moongeist beamed the other slot. Would have gotten in a slightly better position. Now they have Fake Out active. They also... Well, I don't have Protect on anything, so there's nothing I can do about the Fake Out anyway. There's no they also, it just is what it is. Trick Room ended. Behemoth Blade takes out Lunala. Yeah. Play Rough knocks out... Or no, Play Rough doesn't knock out Miraidon, but whatever Rillaboom goes for does. Alright, well that was a really scary matchup. Really scary team. Opponent played it well. These things happen. I'm climbing a little higher on the ladder than I have in a little bit. I'm going to do that thing I said, one last game, and no matter what, I'm declaring right now I'll bring Okidogi to it. Because Okidogi kind of fell out of the rotation toward the end of the video, which is not really what's supposed to happen when I'm featuring a specific legendary. But you know, I don't really have a rule like that for this series, I just use the team as I see fit. Miraidon? Grim Snarl. I would like to say Lunala Ursaluna. I really would. I think that's the best two in the back. What about this? Ogre Pawn? Lunala Ursaluna Okidogi. Leaving Miraidon behind, because the main reason I was so serious about bringing Miraidon even into these two restricteds was just electric terrain to deny Spore from Smeargle. But worth remembering, might have been worth remembering in some of the earlier battles, I do also have a grass type with Follow Me, so I can stop Spore with that, at least for a little bit. And this way I still get to bring Ursaluna, but I also honor my commitment to bringing Okidogi. It's been a good Reg I video. It's not been a great Okidogi showcase, but Okidogi has put in work at some points. I've been happier with it than I have been, honestly, in any attempt to use it before. This is genuinely, I think, the most I've enjoyed ever using Okidogi. So that's something. Might as well just Terrasilize here. Snarl. Okay. What does Flutter Mane do? Dazzling Gleam. Okay. Well, I get the Ivy Cudgel into Chi-Yu. That's nice. Bonk. Get Trick Room. Lunala's at -1. That's awkward, but Trick Room I think is the most important thing here. Unless their Ice Rider underspeeds my whole team, which it might. Maybe Trick Room was not that good here. There's the Ice Rider. Alright, we're going to Wide Guard and Ivy Cudgel Ice Rider. That might actually get the better of them this one turn at least. Groudon. Or Water. I just used Power Whip. Went for Leech Seed anyway. With the Ivy Cudgel crit, that is of course a boosted crit rate. They can switch. Or not switch, they can protect. I'll use the opportunity to hopefully get my... I can't do this, can I? It doesn't work. Put Ursaluna into this slot. Look for some chip on Groudon. Use the opportunity to hopefully get my burn. They just throw off a Glacial Lance immediately when I just clicked Wide Guard. They're a menace. There goes Ursaluna. Alright, it's all up to Okidogi to pull this one back. I think I know how that one turns out, but you know what? You cannot say at the end of this video that I didn't give Okidogi a fair chance. I most certainly did. We want to click Gunk Shot into this Calyrex. Let's go. It connects. Doesn't KO. Dodge Precipice Blades. But Calyrex knocks everything out with the Glacial Lance now. I don't want to protect on Okidogi because I'm running Assault Vest. Well, we tried. Okidogi has never been the Pokemon I'm most comfortable with, and I think we can safely say that it doesn't have much of a place in this metagame because it was not showing up very much in those past tournament results that I looked at, although more than never, and that's more than a lot of Pokemon can say. Overall, though, I was not very experienced with a Miraidon Lunala team, and it felt really good. I can see why these are winning a lot. And if I had an Incineroar to throw out that Rillaboom and Zacian, yeah, powerful team archetype for sure. I don't know if this was much of an Okidogi showcase, but Okidogi did put in some work at some points, and it's genuinely the most comfortable I felt using that Pokemon in any format so far. Assault Vest Okidogi probably has its place. It's just not one of the most splashable things in the format right now. But hey, this is probably as good as any of the loyal three are going to get. Monkey Dory's already done. Pheasantipiti's still on the wheel. But so are 21 other legendaries. So as always, we'll just have to wait and see which one is selected next.